Let's talk about organizational socialization, helping people fit into an organization. Let's define organizational socialization. First of all, it's a process where the employee learns the values and procedures of the organization. So there's this learning aspect, getting information, this cognitive aspect, and learns to fit in. That is, figuring out what's necessary to have the relationships and be part of the team and the group. So there's also this relational aspect of things. Now, socialization is important because it has a lot of positive consequences. First of all, the more socialized into the organization, the more integrated the employee feels into the organization, the higher his or her job satisfaction is, and the higher his or her organizational commitment is. The employees have lower turnover intentions if they've had more socialization. It even affects their task performance. Whatever they're supposed to be doing on their job, employees who are better socialized into the organization have higher levels of performance, most likely because they know who to go to get information and resources from, and they have the relationship necessary so that that person wants to help them out. Employees also have greater or more organizational citizenship behaviors when they're highly socialized into the organization. The organizational citizenship behaviors are good things that the employees do that aren't on their job description, that aren't part of their responsibilities, like helping out an employee with their responsibilities, or cleaning up after a party, or organizing a special event, something that they don't have to do, but which makes the organization run smoother. And there's also greater group or team cohesion if the people know each other and really fit in with one another. One of the ways that that socialization occurs is through the recruitment process. You want to recruit the right people for the position so that they will fit in. You don't want to hire these people that aren't going to fit in. So organizations try to find employees that will match their values so that they will fit in. And similarly, employees try to find organizations that match their own values. So it's a win-win situation when the employee and the organization have the same set of values. Is it a real go-getting organization? Is it a values-based nonprofit? Is it a Christian organization? If everybody's clear about what the values are and everybody shares those values, things will go a lot smoother. But this gets complicated because both organizations and potential employees present inaccurate information about themselves to seem more attractive. People want to seem like they're the greatest in the world and they have the most pure and other focused motives, and organizations want to present themselves as the best places to work where it's just a joy to come to every day. But most organizations aren't like that, and most people aren't like that either. So it's sometimes hard to find out if the person and the organization actually share the same values before they get hired. One of the things that organizations can do to help present this is what's known as realistic job previews. Perhaps at the initial interview, perhaps at a second interview, what the employee will really be doing and experience should be explained very clearly. The true nature of the work. What is the employee actually going to be doing? They should be shown what they're going to be spending their day doing so the employee can decide, oh yeah, that's what I want to be doing. The organization needs to explain what the pressures are at work. How many hours are expected to work? What's the scheduling involved? How often will they have to work on weekends? They need to know what the stressors are going to be so that they can find out if that corresponds to what they want. The nature of the customers or the people that receive the services is also really important. Is the employee going to have to deal with difficult people very often? If the employee isn't strong enough or willing to do that, they need to know beforehand that that's going to be part of the job requirement. And similarly, they need to know what the pay is going to be like, how often they can expect a promotion, and things like that, because if they're expecting to move up in the organization, but it's a very flat organization with few opportunities for promotion, they could be very disappointed and leave fairly soon. So a realistic job preview can help our organizations choose the right people that will fit in. Another aspect of socialization occurs during employee orientation or onboarding. Once the employee starts working at the organization, a lot of times there's an orientation program that lasts a day or two, where they're given employee manuals with rules and benefits and things like that. And I just want to really encourage you to read the employee manuals. When I started teaching at Azusa Pacific, they gave me an employee manual, and I got the idea that most people weren't going to read it, but I decided to read it. And I found out that they had a tuition exchange program with the university that my son was about to start at in a week. And because I read that, I was able to get on the phone, and before my son started, I was able to get 80% tuition paid for. And I wouldn't have known about that if I hadn't read the employee manual. During that orientation, there'll be meetings with HR personnel to explain benefits and policies. There might be meetings with managers to get an idea of who's who in the division or department that they'll be working with. But orientation and onboarding can last longer than the first week also. Those first few months, it's really important to develop a strong relationship with the supervisor, because that will determine how effective that person will be to a great deal in their context. And if they can get mentored by somebody, that works even more to increase their socialization, to understand what they can best do to contribute to the organization and to advance in the organization. A common model used in organizational behavior to understand this process of socialization is called the attraction, selection, attrition model of why do some people not fit in and drop out of an organization. So this is called the ASA model, and it's focusing on why does attrition occur. And the model basically says that organizations try to attract employees who will fit in and have certain criteria along certain dimensions. Each organization is trying to find the right type of person. If Facebook is going to look for Facebook type of people, the Walt Disney Company is going to look for Walt Disney type of people. They're all looking for different things that are necessary to fit in that organization. And sometimes they're conscious, like there's a special type of employee that fits into Facebook, there's a special type of employee that fits into Disney, and the recruitment people know that. But sometimes it's not really conscious, and it's just through people just don't know, but after a while they realize that some people don't fit in. So organizations try to find people that will fit in, but the right people are not always recruited. So people are recruited, they're selected, and then they can kind of go into two directions. Either they'll be socialized and fit in, or they'll soon drop out because they don't fit in. And so this is called the attraction. So organizations try to attract people, they select people, but then there's attrition because the selection isn't as good as we'd like it to be.